Everyone says a baby resets your body to zero. That's a lie, and she's about to spend the rest of her life proving it. 4:47 in the morning. Rain taps the window of a small apartment above a neon-lit street. She's awake before the alarm. She's always awake now. In 11 weeks, a selection panel decides whether she competes at her third major games, less than a year after giving birth. Her coach thinks the timeline is impossible. She's about to prove that her body didn't lose those months. By the end of tonight, you'll understand what it quietly gained instead. She's early 30s, lean and corded with muscle, dark hair yanked into a tight bun, a thin scar riding her left knee from a race 4 years back. She laces worn trainers in the dark so she won't wake the baby. Her reflection in the wet window looks older than the athlete on the metal posters downstairs. She doesn't flinch from it. Different body, she whispers to the glass. Still mine. Then she steps out into the rain. Her coach is 61, silver hair cropped to the skull, a weathered face that's read 1,000 stopwatches. Gray hoodie, the same stopwatch swinging on a lanyard for 30 years. He's timed her whole career. And privately, standing under the flickering track lights, he does the math and doesn't believe it. 10 months postpartum. A rebuilt core, a heart that stopped racing for 2 people only weeks ago. She'll break herself chasing a ghost, he tells no one. He's seen comebacks die on this exact track. He remembers the old numbers, her splits, her power, the peak she hit before the pregnancy, and he keeps trying to steer her back toward them. Every session becomes a subtraction. How far below her old self is she today? She hears it in his silence. She starts apologizing before workouts even begin. Sorry, I'm slow, she says, breath fogging. Give me time to get back to zero. He almost nods. Here's what neither of them has fully reckoned with yet. During pregnancy, a woman's heart doesn't idle, its output climbs, commonly by 30 to 50%, pumping for 2 circulatory systems at once. For months, her body ran a continuous endurance load she never chose. Expanded blood volume. A heart trained around the clock. Elite athletes spend years chasing that adaptation on purpose. She was handed a version of it involuntarily, while everyone told her she was falling behind. But adaptation on paper doesn't erase a 3 a.m. feeding or a body that aches in unfamiliar places. Mid-morning, rain streaking the arena glass, she stumbles through intervals that used to feel like breathing. Her lungs are strong, stronger, even, but the timing, the trust, the old rhythm won't come. She stops, hands on her knees, furious. I don't recognize this body, she says. I keep training the woman I used to be. And that's exactly the trap. That night, the darkest hour lands. The baby won't settle. She trains on 90 minutes of broken sleep, misses every split, and sits on the wet locker room floor under a buzzing neon sign, certain she's humiliating herself in front of the only coach who ever believed in her. Her phone glows with a message from the panel. 11 weeks. The comeback feels like vanity. She whispers the question that's been chasing her. What if starting over really does mean starting from nothing? Pause. Think about the last time you tried to return to something, a body, a business, a discipline you'd let slip, and measured every day against the person you used to be. That comparison is a knife you hand your own enemy. She was doing it too, grading herself against a self that no longer existed, blind to the strange new engine life had quietly built inside her. The question was never how to get back. It was what to build forward. The coach makes the choice, the whole story bends around. At dawn, he tears up the old training file, the splits, the benchmarks, the peak he'd been chasing for her. It costs him his certainty, 30 years of trusting the numbers. We're not rebuilding who you were, he tells her, voice rough. We're training the body you have now, the heart, pregnancy already conditioned. He stops timing her against the ghost. For the first time, he coaches the woman actually standing there. Something in her unclenches. She stops apologizing for being slow because she finally stops measuring against zero. New drills built around the endurance her body banked and the raw stubbornness motherhood forged in the dark. She trains in the rain-slicked nights when the baby sleeps, neon smearing across wet asphalt as she runs. I didn't start over, she says one evening, steam rising off her shoulders. I started from everything I just survived. The splits begin, quietly to fall. And through all of it, one small, silent witness. A few months old, wrapped in a pale blue blanket, watching from a pram beside the track as the city glows behind them. Every sleepless session is stolen from time with that child. Every rep carries a cost no stopwatch measures. This isn't vanity anymore. It's proof for the small person who will one day ask what she did when everyone said the door had closed. The stakes now have a heartbeat. The weeks compress into a blur of wet midnight tracks and neon reflections. Her endurance holds where it once cracked. That pregnancy-built engine carries her through the back half of every race, past runners who peaked and faded. The coach barely speaks. He just watches the stopwatch and for the first time in months lets himself hope. She's not chasing her old peak anymore. She's building a new one no version of her has ever stood on before. And the clock keeps falling. Selection night. Rain hammers the stadium roof, neon signage bleeding red and blue across soaked asphalt outside. One race, one clock, everything 11 weeks of stolen sleep, a coach's abandoned certainty, a mother's impossible timeline folds into the next few minutes. She crouches at the line, that thin scar on her knee catching the floodlights. Somewhere in the stands, a pale blue blanket. She breathes once. The gun cracks the wet air. This is where you find out. She goes out controlled, unafraid to let the field pull ahead, patience, not panic. And in the final stretch, when the others gasp and buckle, her heart does the thing it was quietly trained to do for months. She doesn't fade, she surges. Past one shoulder, then another, chest heaving, face a mask of everything she survived, the neon-lit clock running down. She crosses the line inside the standard. The stadium roars. The stopwatch in her coach's hand simply stops. Her name goes on the list. Her third major games less than a year after giving birth, on a body everyone had written off. In the tunnel afterward, she doesn't celebrate loudly. She just finds a pale blue blanket, presses her forehead to it, rain and sweat and something bigger running down her face. They kept saying I was starting over, she breathes. I was starting from the hardest thing I've ever done. The coach, silent, finally believes what he timed. So here's what she'd want you to take, whatever you're rebuilding from tonight. Your setback might not be subtraction. That injury, that layoff, that year life detonated your plans. It may have built something in you that comfort never could, if you'd only stop grading it against who you used to be. If you're done apologizing for starting over, subscribe. This channel is your tribe, and we do this every evening. Now hear the part worth screenshotting. Her body wasn't broken by life's biggest disruption, it was rebuilt by it. The heart that surged for her child became the heart that outran the field. Discipline isn't only grinding when it's clean and easy. Discipline is recognizing that even the chaos, the sleepless nights, the detour, the total interruption of your plans can be training you didn't know you were doing. So the next time you feel behind, ask a better question. Not how far back, how much forward. Life didn't reset her clock, it rebuilt her engine. Remember the lie from the start that the comeback resets you to zero. Look at her now. Starting over is not starting from zero. If you're rebuilding from something nobody sees, a body, a business, a self that life interrupted, this one was for you. Carry it into tomorrow when I'll tell you about the man who trained by candlelight. I'm Cole. Subscribe, a new story like this every evening.